Gameday All-Access, and right now it's time for us to dive in and preview the 6A North Championship race here in 2016. I'm Andy Hayes, joined alongside David Liddle and Mike Serone. And guys, every year 6A North always has an exciting race. We've seen teams go on from that to win state championships. Centerville and Westfield both with one in the past 3 years. Certainly, David Liddle, when you start looking at the 6A North teams coming back who are expected to be strong again in 2016, there's quite a few of them here. Who do you have your eye on?
Well, I think there's really 4 teams that I'm really looking at. Westfield, of course, being the defending state champion, coming back again. They're fairly loaded. They got good up-front play. Robinson, I think, is the other one in the Concord district you're really going to have to keep your eye on. Great running attack. Battlefield, explosive defense. They got some real big playmakers. Braylon Franklin is signed to go to Penn State. And then I think the other one is Lake Braddock. Again, they return a lot of players up front and good backfield as well. So those are my 4.
Mike Serone, he typically is touting the Lake Braddock and South County side of things in addition to Centerville, Westfield. He's got them all right there. Anybody else you want to throw in there?
You have to look at West Potomac. I mean, Mark Ellis coming back. I just think that's a preview of my sleeper right there. But when you're looking at West Potomac, their defense has to improve. Over 25 points a game. I mean, pretty much 4 touchdowns a game. You can't win if you can't outscore the opponent. So that's the math behind that. But overall, West Potomac's one to look at as well.
I agree with you, and I think certainly there's some teams out there that are always on the fringe of having a big season. We'll dive in and tell you our sleepers right now. So I agree with all those. I'll tell you my prediction when it's all said and done. I will say this. Neither one of you picked the winner. Who's going to win in 6A North? I'll put you on the spot in a minute, but tell me the sleeper, David, that you have in mind.
My sleeper is South Lakes. South Lakes came within a kickoff return that they gave up against Westfield last year of upsetting Westfield in the playoffs. They got a lot of talent coming back, a quarterback who, again, is a junior this year, had a great sophomore season, and I think Trey Taylor's got some things working at South Lakes and Reston.
All right, Mike Serone, you said West Potomac.
I mean, it has to be West Potomac. Mark Ellis is one of the top quarterbacks in this whole entire region. I mean, just his size, his accuracy, even his running ability, as we've seen a lot of times last year with Tim Blank calling a lot of crazy run plays from Mark Ellis. But overall, I think West Potomac is one to look at just because of their quarterback play. But like I said, defense got to improve.
All right, listen, my sleeper always is from the Concord, and I think Robinson, you better look out for Robinson. Now, David talked about them. They're going to be good, but they've always kind of fizzled a little bit in the second, third round of the playoffs. I think Robinson this year might have a little more in the cupboard, so to speak, as we say, than most people think they do. We'll talk more about their playmakers here a little bit later, but the fact of the matter is keep an eye on the Rams because they've got a senior quarterback coming back, and they got a big offensive line, and we know how they like to run the football. So if Robinson can do those things and play great defense, they're going to be right there. Remember, they had Westfield 3-0. That was the final. Westfield had to kick a field goal to win
that game.
You called that game, and that's one of those that you kind of go, well, they have a good matchup against Westfield. So if that ends up being maybe a regional final, you never quite know. The Rams could be right there again. As far as the champion of 6A North, listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's Westfield's championship to lose, okay? Westfield, again, has all the pieces. I've been to the camps. I've seen the teams. I'm telling you right now, Westfield is the team to beat. Offensive line's big. They got the quarterback, Ramon Johnson, back. Ivory Frimpong, they've got him back. They've got more guys than we even knew about that are coming up that you've never heard their names yet, but they're going to be stars. And Eugene Asante, remember that name. So defensively, Kevin Petrillo, maybe the best linebacker in the area, returns for Westfield here this year. And Zach Jewell. I mean, again, the list goes on and on. So when you start looking at the team that has the most coming back, even though they've graduated a bunch, Westfield just reloads and they're ready for another championship run. So now let's put you on the spot. I say it's Westfield, 6A North. David, who wins it?
Well, this is the 10th anniversary of the Game Day Broadcast Network, and I think for 10 years Andy Hayes has predicted Westfield will win the 6A North. So no surprise there in my book. I will say one thing. You mentioned Zach Jewell. I thought personally last year that he was the best defensive lineman on that team. I thought he outplayed some of the higher-named players that got a little more recognition than Zach. Look for a big year out of that kid. For me, though, it's going to come down. I believe in Media Day you had one coach who said defense wins championships, offense determines the outcome, the spread. And that was Jared Van Acker over at Battlefield. I like a lot of the other clubs, but I think what he's got coming back over there, again, he really has an explosive defense. He's got some linebackers. Braylon Franklin is outstanding. They started him at cornerback last year, moved him to the defensive line, had something like 18 sacks in 8 games. The kid can play, and again, he's an athlete going to Penn State. They got one issue. They got to solve their quarterback dilemma. Right now in camp, they have 3 kids that are battling for that position. If somebody takes the leadership role and can do what he has to do from the leadership standpoint and distribute the ball, I think that Battlefield has a great chance, especially the later in the season you get.
All right, I'm just going to say one thing to you. And anytime somebody tells me that they have 3 quarterbacks, that means they don't have one. And that worries me. And
worries me
I've
too.
been to Battlefield Camp. Everything you said is 100% right. They look as good as anyone in the area. But that question mark is a big question mark.
Big question
You
mark.
can't be iffy on the quarterback and win a state championship. All right, Mike, who's going to win it in 6A North?
6A North, you know what? I was going to go with Westfield, but then I was like, he's going to pick it. So I'm not going to go with Westfield. I'm going to go with an upset pick as your sleeper pick with the Robinson Rams. I mean, just calling that game. I called 2 big Robinson games last year against South County and against Westfield. As you said, Westfield, it's 3-0. Now, it was a close game. The Rams actually got a touchdown that was called back, so they actually technically should have won that game, but that's the whole story here. But the South County game against the number 1 team in the state for the entire year South County was, that playoff game was close. I mean, if it wasn't for 1 pick six, the Rams would have moved on. But I just think with the running game they have, that triple threat, it's ridiculous.
Can't believe nobody's picked South County. I mean, Michael Salisbury and Dylan Spalding are sitting here shaking their head going, man, we get no love, man. Where is that at? Listen, South County, don't sleep on them.
Yeah, don't sleep on them,
Sure.
absolutely. And Dylan Spalding may be the best playmaker in the entire area.
As I said, number 1 all last year. I mean, they're not going to go away from that.
But nobody wants to pick them. All right, so there you have it. There's our predictions. Westfield for me, Battlefield for David, and Mike Serone goes with the Robinson Rams. That'll do it for our 6A North preview right here on Game Day All Access. We'll step aside for a quick break and be back with more coverage right after this.
Ortho Virginia brings you sports medicine tips with Dr. Ben Kittredge.
I'm Ben Kittredge. I'm an orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine from Ortho Virginia, and I'm here to talk about hamstring injuries. It is a sharp, severe pain. If you're lucky, this will go away in a few days. Sometimes hamstring strains, however, can take months to get better. The best treatment for after you sustain a hamstring strain is going to be rest, anti-inflammatory medicine, possibly going to physical therapy. In an effort to prevent hamstring tears, the best way to go about that would be to warm up for possibly 10 minutes using a stationary bike or an elliptical trainer or going for a slow jog before you start to participate in your cutting and jumping activity.
Ortho Virginia, proudly improving the health and well-being of those living in our communities.